It's a modern gun. There's another difference. That gun would have been made out of bronze. It would have been brass, real shiny. You can see it's a little shiny, but it's actually paint because we didn't have enough money to buy a bronze tube. We bought an iron tube instead. But it serves our purposes and it'll do the job for us. What we're going to do is we're going to do the drill that they did during the Civil War. We're going to load that gun and shoot it. We are not shooting any cannonballs today. Okay? Sorry. I don't think those panel trucks would take it very well if we shot cannonballs, or your beautiful post office building, which is very historic also. So we're just going to shoot blanks, just make some noise, make a little smoke. I kind of cut my charges down, but I haven't tested them in here, so you may get a pretty good boom here, and it may not be that bad. I'm hoping it's okay. But we're going to shoot the gun, do the drill. I'm going to come back and talk to you, and I'm going to have the crew come back, because each one of them has a specific job to do, and we want to explain what they're doing, and then we're going to go back and shoot it again. So we're going to shoot twice. So hang around here. Let's everybody stay in this area right here, and you'll be safe. And I'm going to tell you, I will raise my hand when it's time to shoot the gun, and I will drop it, and then you can cover your ears. But until you see my arm go up, you don't have to worry about that. You can listen, and everything will be okay. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
I'll be back with you in just a minute. Hand ears, post. With solid shot, load. Ready. Ma'am, you gotta get back on the other side of that building or get up here fast.
Okay.
Fast, 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 fast. Okay, I think we've got it ready. We have Curtis Varnell up here, and we have to be patient with him because it's been a long time since he shot a cannon. He was in the Civil War, did y'all know that? And he's kind of forgotten some things since then. Okay, you want to plug your ears. Fire! And we have to wait a few minutes before the gun cools off where we can shoot it again because we're going to shoot a second round in just a minute. But Civil War artillery was that type of cannons, just like you saw there. They're muzzle loaders, so they load through the muzzle, the front of the barrel, and they push the powder and the projectile down to the back of the barrel, and then they discharge the cannon with the fuse that's in a vent at the rear of the gun in the breech. So when we get finished with the second shot, we'll ask you. You'll be able to come up and look at the gun up close and inspect it and kind of ask questions and things like that too. So you'll have a chance to see the gun up close in just a minute. I've got our crew back here, and if Curtis will get up here and join us, we'll get started. A crew actually consisted of about 7 men, but we're kind of short-handed today, so we're making do. A couple of us are doubling up in a couple of positions. But the cannon crew, every person on the crew on the gun had a specific job to do, and they had specific tools to do that job. So and the positions were numbered. So the number 1 man, he's going to step forward. You notice he's got heavy gloves on his hands to protect him. So that's real important. In his hand, he's got a staff, and on one end of that staff, he's got a sponge. We got a burlap bag on there, and we wet that, and we swab the barrel out to try and kill any sparks between the firings, because we don't want that gun to go off while we're loading it. All right. When it's time to load it, he flips that staff over, and that's the rammer, and that's what he seats the charge, the powder bag, and what would have been the projectile. Like I said, we're not shooting projectiles today. No bullets, no cannonballs. They could actually make this gun a big shotgun too. They had a buckshot load, basically equivalent of buckshot out of that gun. About 40 musket balls about that big. That was their buckshot. And it was really ugly when they used it on the field. So this is the number 1 position. He gets the gun ready to load and then actually loads it. Number 2 is up on the gun on the other side, on the left side of the cannon. He also has a tool. He has an extra sponge if we need it. If something happens to the first one, we got it covered. But he's got a worm. It's called a worm or a hook on the other end of that staff. And before we sponge, we run that hook down the barrel and we try and grab anything that might be left. Their whole piece of ammunition included a cotton bag full of powder. It had a wooden spacer. It had some metal straps and some nails that held the cannonball on there. Any of that stuff could tear off and be left in the barrel. And it would be hot, it would be smoldering. It might set that powder off on the next round. So we want to get that stuff out of there. After he does that, then the next thing he does is you'll see him take the ammunition when I carry it up there in this pouch, and he actually is the loader. He puts the ammunition in the barrel. Okay, that's the number 2 man. Number 3 is to the rear of the gun on the right side. He has a leather. He's going to cover the vent with his. He has a glove on his thumb, just a glove that covers his thumb, and he covers the vent where the fuse goes at the back of the cannon. And what he's doing is he's limiting oxygen from flowing in there freely. Fire needs oxygen, right? So if anything's escaped the sponge and anything's escaped the worm, it's still in there, we're not going to let it glow. We're going to try and hold it down. So he's creating a vacuum in there. The other thing he does is when the gun's ready to shoot, he has a vent pick, and he runs that spike through the vent, and he pokes a hole in the powder so that when we put a spark on it, it goes off just like it did a while ago. Okay, that's the number 3 man. Curtis is playing number 4 for us, and he can step up here. On his belt, he has a pouch, and in that pouch, he's got the lanyard that he uses to hook. He's going to hook this lanyard to a friction primer. It's a brass tube. It's filled with fulminated mercury and black powder. Curtis is a chemistry guy, so he can tell you what all the hell that works. But there's a wire inserted at a right angle in here into that black powder and fulminated mercury mixture. And when you pull that wire really fast, it creates enough friction to spark the black powder and the mercury in there, and it pops like a big firecracker. And that's what sets the gun off. Curtis has got the funnest job, by the way. Can you tell that? You would figure that Curtis Varnell would have the funnest job, right? I think we all understand that. All right, I'm gonna let the guys go back onto the gun. In a little while, in between the cannon programs, which are now, we'll do it again at noon, and we're going to do it again at 2 o'clock if you got people that missed it that want to come back and see it. In between that, I'm going to do some musket demonstrations. And a soldier with a musket could shoot their musket 3 times a minute, every 20 seconds. How fast do you think this crew could shoot this cannon if I turned them loose? 3 times a minute, just like the soldiers with a musket could. So a crew could keep up with the infantry with their rate of fire, okay? Okay, a soldier in the Marine Corps or in the U.S. Army today, they carry an M4 carbine. You know how many times the M4 carbine shoots in a minute? Its cyclic rate is around 500. It could shoot 500 rounds a minute if it wanted to, if you can get the ammo to it. That's amazing. The firepower that a soldier carries today, 500 rounds a minute versus 3 rounds a minute, that's a whole different kind of battlefield than what we're fighting on today. So that's important to understand. A lot of times those soldiers they can't see the guys they're shooting at. they're so far away. They got to look at them through scopes and optics and things like that. Back then, they lined up and they got this close sometimes, but they got from here to the courthouse often. They got from here to across the street from the courthouse many, many times. So they were looking in those enemies' eyes when they were shooting at them, and that's a whole different kind of ball game too. All right, I appreciate you guys. We're gonna shoot this gun one more time. So everybody stay right back here for now, and I'll be right back with you. In ears, post. With 1 round solid shot, load. Ready. Fire! That's what I was going to do.
It smells like that. I'm going to go up, buy us some chili.
Yep. About to load up. Curtis, war era, and it's all reproduction. Scale model. It's full size. Yeah. The original would have been bronze. This one's cast iron with a steel sleeve inside of it.
What
Again.
are those at Prairie Grove Battlefield?
Well, some of them are bronze, and some of them are iron guns. Yeah, a little bit of both.
Some of them bigger.
Yeah, there's a lot bigger guns. This fired a 12-pound cannonball, but it was a lightweight gun that they could pull with the caliber. And the bigger guns, they can't move as fast because they'll tear them up. So they had to pull them slower.
This was John Wayne cannon.
Yeah, yeah.
How big a load?
Well, they shot about a pound of powder with a 12-pound ball. Yeah, full pound. We're gonna shoot about 4 ounces, and it'll get your attention.
I got a cannonball. It's about.
Well, do you still do you fire through there?
Yeah, there's gonna be a fuse. We have a friction primer, and it's a fuse. So it's a metal tube that slides in there. It's got fulminated mercury and black powder in it. When you pull the wire through it real fast, it creates enough friction to pop it like a cap, and it'll put a spark right on that.
Who said electronics is new?
Yeah. Hey,
It's ain't old, ain't it?
they were using. I found this out later because I went out to California to a Nike missile site where we used to air defense missiles.
Yeah.
And they were using friction primers like they used in the Civil War to break the stages between the rocket engines on those missiles. I was like, are you kidding me? I said, that's cool. That's some good technology right there.
The past meets the future.
Yeah.